Hey everyone, just before the episode kicks in, wanted to give you a heads up. I have no idea what happened to my mic this week, but Jackson and Dan talked more than I did, and their stuff sounds fine, so we opted to not do a full re-record of the episode. I'm sorry that I'm going to be a little hard to hear. I'm going to do what I can to fix it, but it's not much to be done. Anyway, thanks for listening. Enjoy the episode.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, imagine if there was a state that was called, North Dakota and Montana.
I'm really not a fan of people anyone who gatekeeps game difficulty in any context.
The real Dark Souls starts now. Shut up. You can kind of confirmation bias it. If you're a guy and you're just like, breaking news, Tom Brady has retired. You know who's not gonna fucking retire? I managed to clap and not peak my microphone both times, but it was really on the edge there.
Got that good clap.
I'm impressed, honestly.
It was deliberate also. It wasn't just an accident. So I'm pretty proud of myself.
I've never tried to not peak the mic. I've always just been like, if it peaks, it peaks. I'll get over it later.
I was skirting close there. Anyway, today I just want to say, before we get too into the podcast, I'm hesitant to say any actual names. Okay. Because we are 2 for 2. We brought up Josh Wiegand. Yeah. And now that guy sucks more.
Even more than before.
We brought up Kid Rock, and now that guy sucks more.
Honestly.
Yeah, dude.
So it's I don't want to say anyone's name because I don't want them to start to suck more.
Who do we want?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, done. Yeah.
Fuck
Neil deGrasse Tyson, dude.
He's gone.
Neil deGrasse.
Within the next week. I'm
absolutely canceled.
By Thursday, he's gonna say some shit. He's probably gonna my actual thing is he's probably gonna not go viral for anything, but he's probably gonna have some really woke brain take about football.
He does all the time.
Mm-hmm. I just I'll never not be a hater.
I believe this. That he is
I'll never not be a hater on that.
Guy.
I fucking hate sports ball guys.
Mm-hmm. I used to be a sports ball guy.
I know.
I also used to be a sports ball guy when I was young.
Mm-hmm. But
which is where a lot of my hate comes from.
Move on.
We grow up.
We're adults.
Yeah.
The fact that people in their 30s still tweet about sports ball blows my mind.
They got
that's pretty
the
cringe.
Touchdown goal. You're not being cool.
That's pretty cringe. I'm not.
And also, you're being just why are you mad that people like something? That's my thing. And you're doing it in a way that's not swag.
Yeah, if you're gonna be mad at people liking something, make it about a fun thing.
Yeah, dunk on them, But
yeah.
don't just be they kicked the touchdown. No one cares, man. The joke's old. You're old. You're 40. Millennials, shut up challenge.
Honestly.
No.
Impossible mode, by the way.
Honestly. Someday maybe. I don't know. I've seen shockingly few bad takes about Brady retiring, though.
He's not yet.
Yeah, but the phrase is still trending, and that's all that many people care about.
I think the best thing about Tom Brady retiring is the fact that if it's kind of you can kind of confirmation bias it. If you're a guy and you're just breaking news, Tom Brady has retired. You know who's not gonna fucking retire? Stubborn ass Tom Brady.
True.
The guy who doesn't even drink but won a chugging contest among an entire team of people who weigh 100 pounds more than him. That guy he is beyond stubborn. I mean, that's probably why he's pretty good, but now that you've said he's going to retire, he will not let it happen because he doesn't want people that aren't him to be right.
Correct.
And I get that. I absolutely get that. I think that is an area in which I have a lot in common with Tom Brady. Then also our ability to throw a touchdown pass. No one knows it about me though because I don't show off. But
all humility, maybe he could.
He should learn a thing or two about it. Oh, you got a whole bunch of rings. I don't, but also, my hands are lighter now, so it's really not that. You're not that special.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I think would be fun, sports related?
What?
So as you guys know, I am currently working in sports actually, in sports broadcasting.
Indeed.
I do know
that. I don't know if I've talked about that on the podcast or not, but that's what I be doing that. Check my Twitter; it's in the bio. But anyway, I feel like it'd be really fun to work for a team that wins because then you get a ring too.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't sure. I was going to bring it up because I didn't know if you guys knew that or not. I have a good friend of mine. Her cousin is an accountant for the Astros, and when they won the World Series, she got a ring too. She's in accounts payable. But they give everybody on in the organization gets a ring.
That's right.
I don't know how deep it goes and if they do it to like entry level stuff or not, but I think they do.
I don't think it goes down to like
Probably not like
staff working the stadium. Because I vaguely remember it being a big deal that somebody gave like a one of their rings to like a janitor that'd been working there forever or something like that. I vaguely remember.
Yeah,
that.
I think so because and why that is, it's not because the teams are shitty. It's because the rings are provided by the league, and stadium staff aren't paid. They're not part of the team. They're part of like where the Otters play is Erie Insurance Arena. I am not on the Erie Insurance Arena staff or payroll. I am on the Otters staff. So if the Otters were to win, I don't know if I would get a ring or not because I'm an intern. But like everyone on the Otters staff gets a ring, but the Erie Insurance Arena staff doesn't because they are hired through a separate agency. They get a different payroll. They're not the same. Like if you work concessions, you're hired through a different company and you're working like concerts and stuff too.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why it's not because they're like we hate janitors. It's like they're not actually they're not on the same payroll, and since the rings aren't made by the team and bought by the team, they're given by the league.
Makes sense.
I mean, I think it wouldn't be the worst if they did, but it would like triple the number of rings they had to give out, and they're not cheap.
Speaking, I need to share this now because otherwise I'm gonna lose this screenshot. Speaking of games, if I may push us in that direction for a moment.
XCOM 2.
XCOM 2. I've been replaying it again. I'm playing with Long War, which is great. It basically just makes the game a lot more of a guerrilla fight rather than it extends the gameplay, but it also has a lot of like minor tweaks here and there that change the balance and also make every mission just last a little longer. Like enemies are a little tankier. Your team is a little tankier. It just makes it feel like a lot more of a slog, which isn't a bad thing. Like a slog in a good way. Now, I have also found out that there is a DLC that XCOM 2 added that allows you to take squad photos. I don't know if you know about this, Jackson.
Oh yeah, dude, squad photos are so good.
The squad photos are so good, and I need and understand that characters in XCOM, their outfits and such, are randomized to a point. There are sets, but like for the most part, they're randomized. And
I always customize mine.
I usually don't, unless I'm doing it for like stream or something. But I need you to understand this is a randomly generated, completely untouched photo of one of my best soldiers, and the amount of raw sexual energy that this puts out.
Why isn't he wearing pants?
I don't know.
Well, no, that's the jean shorts. You gotta pick the jean shorts.
It's the jorts. Yeah, he wears jorts. He's the only one who does.
Jorts. Damn, that man is sexed up.
It's unimaginable power that I can't hope to match.
Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. If you want real raw sexual energy, there is a better option, which is the only wearing of vest, booty jorts, thigh high boots.
That is hot. That is
not a mod. They just put that in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I usually would put at least one of my friends in that outfit when I would make them in the game, and it's the funniest.
The thing that also blows my mind with this in these photos is because they are randomly generated, like the fact that the line it gives under it is
if you see him, it's hard to see. Yeah.
And what you can't see from this photo is that he also has this just atrocious ponytail. Like just atrocious, like mid-shoulder length ponytail. It's so bad.
I wish I could play XCOM, but my computer cannot run it by any stretch of its imagination.
That's understandable. Especially like current edition is surprisingly.
I can't even run like unmodded.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's unfortunate. What can you do?
I really, really am enjoying it a lot. It's reminded me how much I enjoy like very nitty gritty turn based strategy games because I'm not good at XCOM, right? I'm never gonna be good at XCOM, but I am perfectly acceptable at XCOM, especially when I have the chance to not make stupid decisions and like the game doesn't decide, hey, you have a 90% chance, go fuck yourself. I had an enemy miss with a 99 earlier today, and I'm like, oh, it's not just me. Anyway,
Dan, have you ever played Fire Emblem?
I have heard of Fire Emblem. I have looked at it a couple of times, and from what I see,
think you would like it.
I think that if there was going to be, the problem is while the gameplay is very much a similar style, My understanding of the game has always been that it leans a lot closer to like JRPG than something
There's
like
a lot of
a
in-between
tactical
game
RPG.
stuff, but honestly, you can just press start to skip it all and just play the combat. And if that's what you want to do, the game is super fun and super good like that.
What's
It really doesn't take away from your experience if you don't care about the story and don't want to.
What's the current one?
Three Houses is on Switch.
Yeah.
The thing about it though is it is similar to XCOM in that it's a turn-based strategy and it's pretty gritty. But unlike XCOM, there's a little less bells and whistles in the combat, and in place of that, there is a lot more units that you're in charge of.
I kind of am here for that though. Like one
Not
of the
so
other big
many in
things
Three
that-
Houses. Three Houses, I think, caps at usually like 10, 12 units.
Nice.
Some of the older Fire Emblem games, though, you literally would go into battle with 25 plus guys.
That's so much.
That's
So
bad.
yeah, it can be really overwhelming, and it makes a single turn take sometimes forever if you don't know what you're doing. There are ways that they help streamline it. Like you can just check all your units that haven't had actions yet. You can do certain degrees of auto battling for units. You can set them to like preferences. But I think you would probably like it because it's similar to XCOM, but with less gear management and more unit management.
I'm kind of here for that. Because I will say that's one of my bigger gripes with my two big gripes with XCOM's gameplay, genuinely, like on just out in the world, is there's really once you have a like baseline setup for a person's kit, unless you get an upgraded version of something, you basically I feel like I basically never change them. Like I will if like something comes up where like it's a specific scenario, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to go get more whatever.
Yeah, you don't really do anything until you get the chosen weapons. Then you put those on your general unit, and
Which, by the way, the faction-specific units, they
are so
hard.
fun. The Reaper is so good.
I have a Paladin right now. That was like my starting faction, which is just big shield, run at things, and then smack them in the face, and then run away. And it's amazing. Oh, it's so good.
That's a mod-specific one, though, right?
I don't think so. That's no. I think it's called Paladin Mystic, maybe.
Oh, the Mystic. I don't know that they have shields, though. They have like the temporal weapons. Let's see. The energy blades.
XCOM 2. Yeah, they have energy blades, and then they have a big ass shield. Templar. That's what they're called. They're Templars. I got there. I don't know if
the big ass shield is default for Templar though. That might be Long War.
That might be Long War then. That's
because
fair.
I know they have the counter. They have a lot of counter based movement, and like usually you attack and then you get to set up for a counter, and typically it's like a melee thing. But yeah, the Long War probably to kind of zhuzh it up, give it a little more longevity, give him a shield.
Oh, interesting. So the Templars are a resistance faction. Although they're consistently referred to as Templars, their specific name and insignia are randomly generated with every playthrough. I did not know that.
A lot.
So that's probably why I got
really like the
Paladin
skirmishers
or something. Which one is skirmishers?
Skirmishers are the guys with they are part sectoid. They're part alien.
Oh yeah,
and they have like the grappling hooks, but they're like homies.
Yeah. They're homies. The dude.
And I want to play XCOM
2. XCOM 2 really does take all of the good things that XCOM on and say, hey, you know how you have all those cool enemies that you always really wanted to like see what they did and how they played, and then they were like, here, have them. Go have fun.
And the Reaper is really fun too. I mean, the invisibility mechanic is really.
Is that the stealth sniper?
Slick. Yeah, stealth sniper.
It
does way less. It's not as good as the regular sniper, but it has a lot of utility.
Well, that's true.
Nothing.
I truly cannot stress enough that a highly leveled sniper will just win most.
I played XCOM 1, and the sniper. I had like 2 snipers with every crew I had.
Yeah, you should.
Oh, yeah.
2 snipers and like 1 of everything else.
I love a good ranger. I do think that like if you XCOM and Fire Emblem both kind of run into the same-ish problem, and it's only a problem if you don't like it. I personally am not opposed to it, but like the later part of the game, you can get yourself really fucking you can have like 3 units that you could basically just send in alone, and they could probably take care of almost anything.
Yeah,
I don't ever mind that. I like that.
No,
I think XCOM balances it better because you have your A team and your like off team kind of deal, because you can't keep them running. Whereas in Fire Emblem, you'll find like a couple units. You're like, I can just solo the game now.
One of the things I'm really enjoying about Long War is that like I am constantly throwing like in base XCOM 2, it's always a good idea, especially if it's like a lower intensity mission, to throw in an extra rookie just to like build, give them some XP, let them power up, whatever, right? So you have a backup. In Long War, I've had to send like full rookie squads in because there you have like 6 different fucking missions going on in the background at any one time. It's ridiculous. It's very cool. It's very, very cool.
So much.
I love this game. I love this game so much. I really want to play it more. I want to get further into it because I got almost all the way through. Or, that's not true. I got almost all the way through the first one. I got to like the final boss, and I'm like, I don't care anymore because
That's
the
the
final
issue with, like,
mission is such a fucking
long-running games
slog.
like that, right?
Dude, the
I
final
have a
mission in
lot of
XCOM 1 is
issues
such a
with
fucking
games
slog.
because I like long story-based games, but long games that are like XCOM-like, nothing against XCOM. I don't care about it. You know, like, I play it so that I can have like a story framework around some like just battles. But then you end up hitting a point. I'm so sick of the reasons for the battles. Just let me do things that don't have stipulations, you know?
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
like I don't know, you know what I mean? It's just it gets so caught up in itself so quickly.
Yeah.
In a
Yeah,
good
I
way,
totally
but-
get that. And I think that it's one of those things that, like, XCOM, for example, is really, in my opinion, does a really good job of, like, the missions you're going on really don't fucking matter. Like, they really don't. They're almost just to pass time and get more XP while you wait for actual story things to happen. And the story things all happen, like, completely separated from combat, with, again, like, one or two exceptions. And I think that that's really... I think it's really interesting in that regard because I think that there is a value in, like, oh yeah, every mission matters, every battle is a fight that you have to win. But I think XCOM does a good job of, like, if your shit goes south, your shit's going south, and you just have to ride that wave and hope you get as many people out of there. And yeah, it sucks that you failed that mission, but then you have like you have the simple fact of, like, that mission really, okay, yeah, you lost out on like supplies or like a new scientist or whatever, but really it didn't push the story or anything, and you're not missing content by failing.
I gotta be honest, when stuff like that happens, I feel even worse when I lost like some of my hard-won people doing it.
Oh, 100%.
It's just like, are you telling me that Billy B. Jenkins died because it was a mission that wasn't actually important?
Well, that's the thing that I find really, like, that makes you really want to do it, like, as like, I mean, I know I talk about doing a stream game all the time. Remind me by the end, by the way, I have to do Dying Light plugs. Anyway, the reason I want to do it as a stream game is because
Dying Light
because the reason I want to do XCOM as a stream game is I think that, like, I'm not original or fun enough to just add, like, to, like, spend 2 hours customizing each character to be, like, my friends and watch them all go into battle and die. Like, I just don't have that kind of, like, mental energy. However, XCOM 2 does a really cool thing where you can import other people's characters from wherever the hell.
Yeah, you can have them make their own.
So you could have your audience go and make their own and just pull them in directly, which sounds really fun. Or do the thing that I think I'm going to do if I do it as a thing long term is have them, like, oh, every mission, since I don't feel like customizing anything on, like, my rookies, every time you complete a mission, you get, like, a new piece of customization that I will go add to. Hey, you get to customize your hairstyle if you survive one mission. By the time you get to, like, rank 6, you have, you know, fully custom. But those are the missions I don't care about you enough to give a shit.
Classic.
But yeah, I've been really enjoying it. And I know that, like, the game is what, like 6 years old now?
Probably not even. Probably maybe 4 or 5. I think 2019, 2018.
That sounds right. War of the Chosen came out in December of 2018 is what the internet says. And then the original game came out in 2017.
Yeah.
I don't know, Dan. You also tried to tell me that Borderlands 2 came out in 2018.
Listen, I was a fool. I was a fool and absolute utter buffoon.
This man listened to Alexa when he's like, when did Borderlands 2 come out? And it gave him the date of, I think, the last Borderlands.
The last DLC.
Yeah, if I had to guess, Borderlands 2 came out in 2013.
I think it was... Didn't we find out it was 2012?
Yeah, 2012. September 2012.
Close enough.
It's a good guess, honestly.
The reason... I don't know, and Noah, you really didn't play any of them, but Jackson, did you ever play Fallen Order?
I don't know what that is.
So no. The reason I started playing XCOM is because Respawn, the company behind Apex and more importantly Titanfall, and also Jedi Fallen Order, got green light to do fucking 3 more goddamn Star Wars games.
Jackson if he played a Star Wars game.
I know. I realized as soon as I opened my mouth that it wasn't smart.
I will say I did realize what you're talking about when you said Jedi Fallen Order, but I thought Fallen Order was a franchise or something.
Fair enough. Yeah, they got the green light to do 3 more Star Wars games. Fallen Order sequel, a strategy game that is being developed by some of the team that did XCOM, and a FPS, and I am very excited for all 3.
You guys excited for Elden Ring? We got less than a month now.
You know, I feel bad, right? I want to be excited for Elden Ring. I really do. But I really I hate George R. R. Martin so much. I hate him
What does
so
he have to
much.
do
I
with Elden
don't.
Ring?
He's the head writer on it, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
I'm like 99% sure. Hold on. Elden Ring head writer.
I mean, it's probably still Miyazaki doing most of it though.
I thought.
Like it's got to be heavily vetted through FromSoft and Miyazaki. I think he was more of a consultant.
Was he? Okay, I thought he was like the head writer. In that case, I am much less angry about it.
There's not going to be a head writer in a Dark Souls game.
Oh yeah, okay, so yeah, George Martin collaborated with them to create the mythology of the world before the game starts. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
and if
so
you-
much more interested now. I was so annoyed because I just he's the worst.
Why do you hate George R. R. Martin?
He's just the worst. His writing is okay, and like he's very like he's always come across to me as a very up my own ass kind of fantasy writer. Like, and I don't love that. Like, I understand that like a lot of his writing, people who are bad are doing bad things, but I also think that he leans on a couple of themes in his writing that I just find distasteful to even have in your book as like a plot point.
Okay.
Like,
I will also
mean,
say most of his books were written in the like 90s and earlier.
That's
Also,
fair.
aren't all of his books in one series pretty much?
That's fair. That's fair. And it's not even that I dislike the series as a whole. I just dislike certain massive glaring parts of it.
I mean, I'm very indifferent about it, but it's a Dark Souls game.
It's a Dark Souls game. That is true.
It's
it is
not
a new
Dark Souls actually. It's Elden Ring.
It's-
Shut up.
Fuck off. It's a Dark Souls.
Look
I did
look
not
at
know
it.
that Elden Ring was a Dark Souls game until like
Look at
last
it.
week. No, I've never looked at
It's-
it. I thought it was going to be
it's a
another like
Dark
Elder Scrolls
Souls game.
knockoff thing, and I had
No.
no interest in it whatsoever.
No,
There is
it's
only one type of game that looks like that has those textures. It's a FromSoft original, baby.
Once again,
I've never
I
played
literally
Sekiro.
haven't even looked at it.
Elden Ring looks like it's gonna be really cool. You get like a deer horse, and I love a good deer, so
Deer Horse.
very exciting. I don't know. I think Elden Ring's gonna be like sick as hell. It looks really fun.
everyone's really excited for it, and I, knowing now that I had less reason to be angry at it, I'm much more interested in it. So I might at least look at it when it comes out and like consider picking it up. But I also haven't done a lot of Dark Souls games.
What are you doing then? Get started.
It's a good stream game. You could play the Dark Souls 2 slow run.
It's the greatest game.
want to. I don't know that I would enjoy it.
That's
Why
fair.
is that? Out of curiosity. I know that I don't tend to enjoy it either, but that's also because I'm playing on a keyboard instead of a controller.
Well,
So,
that's
like-
for one. But for two, I worry that it will be one of those games where everyone has told me, "Oh, you're gonna go enjoy it, you're gonna play it," and then I'm gonna fucking hate it because of it's either a little bit too clunky or a little bit not clunky enough, or like the combat is just not quite what I'm expecting, or whatever.
This guy doesn't know that all you have to do is tuck and roll.
Yeah,
I will
just-
say, if you were to play it, I would be hesitant if you were to call it like clunky off the bat, just because I don't know that the combat is clunky, but the combat is punishing. Like you do the buttons you push, and it
Yeah.
doesn't. It won't be like, oh, you hit the attack button twice, but then you wanted to roll, so you'll only attack once, and then we'll cancel the second one to let you roll. They're like,
yeah,
oh, sorry, you're gonna attack twice because you said to, and then you're gonna get hit in the face, and then maybe you'll roll.
yeah, that's fair. And you
Like
know,
it's
maybe
very, the
clunky.
controls are very punishing.
Clunky is not the right word. It's very methodical. Maybe would be plotting. Like it's slow combat. Is what I've seen of it over the years. It's not like it's definitely
zippy.
not. It's not zippy. It's not. Yeah, I guess zippy would be a good word. But again, this is coming from somebody who's not played them ever and has only seen things, not act. So, like, I don't want to like say that I definitely wouldn't like it. It just never. I think I played like 5 minutes of one of them. Let's see.
I mean, I think you're like the combat is the combat you make it.
That's fair.
It's usually going to seem very slow, plotting, and clunky if it's someone who hasn't played the game before because they're like scared because the
That's
game
fair.
kind of wants to make you a little bit scared. It's like you don't want to just be like run and start attacking, and this is Bloodborne. Then do whatever the fuck you want.
Mhm.
But like yeah, for a lot of it, the game doesn't want you to go in and start attacking because you're gonna get killed. But if you know what an enemy does, if you've encountered them a few times, if you played the game before, you can just run up to him, like walk around him like it's nothing, kill him in 2 shots, and then walk on to the next thing. But the first time people see it, there's like a slower first playthrough in that you have to get acclimated to the game and to the enemies. But then after that, it kind of becomes like second nature, and that's where the satisfaction comes in.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe I should play it again.
Can't believe we're
I think-
gaslighting you into playing a game that you don't really care for.
I think the third one is probably the most fun and accessible. Bloodborne is, I mean, probably the best and like the coolest, and you would love the themes the most, but it's PlayStation exclusive.
Same. I've heard Sekiro.
Oh,
is
is
fucking
it still
amazing.
PlayStation exclusive, or did they put it?
No, they did just bring it to PC.
Okay, so yeah, Bloodborne's on PC now.
Sekiro is the one
So.
I definitely wanted to try.
Sekiro, I don't know anything about.
From what I understand, it is one of the more punishing ones, because a lot of your built-in Souls knowledge doesn't always work.
Mm-hmm.
Which, as someone without built-in
Bloodborne,
Souls knowledge, that might treat you okay.
Exactly. I also, if I'm remembering, hold on, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong game. Let me double check. Yeah, no, Sekiro definitely. Sekiro looked neat. I just liked the way it looked the most, I think. Also, it has a little grappling hook, so like, you know me.
Yeah, Sekiro didn't really strike my interest very much, and as a result, I never actually played any.
Fair enough.
Just because it's a pretty big stretch away from the other Souls games.
And I've heard that that's like what people love and hate about it.
Whereas like Bloodborne is a very different game than Dark Souls, but it is very much closer and more directly like interfaceable than Sekiro is, which seems like a further like approach. There's less analogs between the two. And I don't know what Elden Ring's going to be like. I don't know if it's going to be closer to like a Sekiro and that it's more removed from the Souls series, or if it's going to be closer to the Souls games.
Yeah.
But I think Bloodborne would probably be the one you would like the most.
I've heard Bloodborne is very good.
It's really fun. And
also
just like play with people. Like 100% of the time. If you want to, just like, yeah, use your little summoning bell and get some friends in there.
That's fair. That might also be a play, because like I definitely do enjoy games like that. Games
it's so much fun to just like summon a friend in and then just like run around and like goof off together.
Yeah.
I don't know, there's a lot of like Dark Souls purists who are like, no, you can't do it. I'm like, well, you totally can. It's actually a lot of fun to play with a friend. Try having friends, Dark Souls people.
Maybe the real getting good was making a friend.
Honestly, like the best strategy is having a friend who wants to play with you. Dark Souls fans shaking right now. No, you're ruining the game. There's less difficult. This doesn't have to be fucking difficult. There's no rules about it being difficult. Shut up.
Yeah.
The game isn't supposed to be the hardest game you've ever played, and if it's the hardest game you've ever played, then that sucks, and I'm sorry for you. It's not that hard.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, I also am really not a fan of people of like anyone who gatekeeps like game difficulty in any context.
The real Dark Souls starts now. Shut up.
Fuck off. Yeah, no. If you gatekeep gameplay, like game difficulty, you're incorrect. Let me phrase that. No, it's not fair. If you gatekeep gameplay difficulty in a like game that isn't being played like in a massive multiplayer setting, so like I don't like go ahead and bitch about gameplay difficulty and whatever for like Apex, but don't. If I want to go and play on easy mode, let me play. I'm gonna go play in easy mode. Leave me alone.
Well, there's no easy mode in Dark Souls.
Fuck off.
Easy mode is having friends, so
easy mode is having swag and being cool. No, I mean I don't know. I think that when people like complain too much about game difficulty or worry too much about game difficulty, I'm like, just make it more difficult for yourself if you want to.
Yeah.
Or like if you're like, yeah, I played Dark Souls. It wasn't even hard enough for me though. I'm like, I don't know. Don't wear armor. What do you want me to say? Like I'm not proud of you. I'm not impressed by you. I'm glad you had fun. Or if it seems like you didn't though.
Yeah.
Like I feel like, yeah, difficulty is not like necessarily a mark of pride. It's just a mark of sometimes things can be harder. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, in some ways, it's like I actively am gonna have less fun on higher difficulties. Like I think of like Sniper Elite, right? I don't.
Well, it's just not fun when you're.
It's just not fun at higher difficulty. I mean, it's just not.
That's like the classic like Terraria and like Skyrim problem. Is they're like, hey, you're gonna play in the hardest mode, and you're like, maybe, and then you do, and they're like, all we changed was we just made the enemies have more health. And you're like, that's not really fun. Like that's not fun, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not cool difficulty scaling. Mm-hmm. Cool difficulty scaling is like, oh shit, it's got another phase now, or like, oh shit, this thing is like. You know, like, honestly, if you want cool difficulty scaling, no one does it better than Hades.
I was literally just about to say Hades.
Hades blows everything else away when it comes to difficulty scaling, because it's not just like, now the enemies have doubled HP. I'm like, that doesn't make the game harder necessarily. It just means I have to shoot twice as much. Mm-hmm. And that's not that fun in the long run. Because now you just inflated the game's, like, length, but not actually given me any other fun opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I feel like... Yeah, Hades does a really good job of, like, instead of just being annoying, they're like, hey, now the Hydra boss is different. hey, now enemies have like they spawn slightly more. Here's exactly what's gonna happen when you up this difficulty, and you can customize it. And I think that's perfect.
I'm also on a difficulty slider thing. I'm not a fan of when games lock content behind playing at a harder difficulty by
Yo.
like pretending it's like the true experience.
It's the worst. I hate that
I
shit.
don't mind when like an ending is locked behind the hardest difficulty. I can see how people do, but I don't really like. If you really, really care, just watch the YouTube video of it. But if you want like a cool reward for playing on the hardest, yeah, it's kind of fun.
But there's a difference between getting like your fancy legendary sword of smiting and like an entire like story chapter locked behind special content or something.
Exactly, yeah.
that's
That's
awful.
where it gets to be too much. If it's like honestly, when it's like items and gear and stuff locked behind difficulty, I'm like, this is kind of lame. But if it's just like a cutscene or two, I don't really care.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like your actual like things you can do within the game being gated off, I'm like, that's not fun.
That's an issue Dead Space 3 had actually. Not a difficulty block, but it was
It was
EA
Dead Space 3.
Well, it was Dead Space 3. EA was trying to push multiplayer really, really hard. So there's an entire like second character that is canonically in game at all times. And his entire existence is just being there as player 2.
Yeah.
Which is neat and all, but like the additional problem just ends up being that anytime you use it, there's like doors that are blocked that you can't access unless player 2 is with you. He's the only guy that can open the doors. So you end up having a rather large chunk of this game that is totally blocked off. And it's all story stuff about the second player. So like
So if you play the game on hard mode, you actually lose content.
No. That's just like a game locked behind a stupid feature thing. It wasn't just a hard mode thing.
Oh, I thought it was like if it was a hard mode, you didn't get that second player there.
No. If it was not Xbox Live, you didn't get that second player there. Mm-hmm. And it's actually impossible to do that now. So because go figure, they
can do local co-op still.
Nope.
Oh, you can't.
No, the co-op.
God, nothing is worse.
Are like dead, and you would have
to
like.
What happened to local co-op? Why the fuck did they get rid of it everywhere? It's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Local co-op is good. It's just
online co-op is not nearly as fun as just like playing in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
It can be, and it has applications, especially when you have like friends that don't live in the same area, or if you like you want to play online and you want to have whatever the reason may be. But like having the option to do local co-op is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where most of my positive like video game experiences when I was younger came from. Was like playing like Halo 2 like local co-op with like 8 people. Yeah, we'd have like little LAN parties. 2 people's Xboxes, 2 TVs, and then 4 controllers each, and that was all you really needed to have like 8 people playing at the same time in the same room, and it was a lot of fun. But I feel like a lot of games don't do that anymore, and it's not even. I don't even think it's because of any reason other than game developers just stopped having to add it in. They stopped being punished for not like people don't not buy a game because of that anymore. So they're like, well, we can skimp out on the work a little bit.
Mm-hmm. No, and that definitely is like one of the things that ended up happening, right? And yeah, but Dead Space, because it was one of those games where it's like you have to play full screen. It never had the option to do anything else, and that just I don't know, man, it bummed me out. I never got to experience like what was my favorite franchise at the time. I never actually got to finish it because of that, and I'm not thrilled about that. It bums me out.
I really like local co-op. Let me put that out of the way. As an adult, I have a lot harder time making local co-op viable.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely harder to make it like a viable option, but like
I may disagree.
I think there are some things that local co-op doesn't work as well for as well. Like there are like I would not want to play something like maybe Back for Blood. Like I don't know that I would want to play that co-op because I think the game would lose. I agree. Same room, right? Like LAN parties are the shit. But there are some games that definitely I feel like are going to be better experiences played online. Personally,
well, I think a lot of them may be better experiences, but the option should be there.
Oh, agreed, 100%.
And like also with specifically Back for Blood, I mean, all of my memory, I've only ever played Left 4 Dead 2 at someone else's house on the second controller on the same screen.
Interesting. That's so. I
And
feel
that's
like
that's how you play the game in my mind, and that's like a lot of fun. So when Back for Blood, I think is an example that I'm like, I don't follow you on that one.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm thinking things. Well, and then there are a lot of games that like one of the things that I think is really cool that's going on right now in online, specifically Steam does it, is they're like Steam Remote Play, which for some games does not work. But
For
for
some
other
games, it does not work. Never try it with Cuphead.
do not do
God,
a Cuphead.
it's a nightmare.
Yeah,
It's a nightmare.
That's going to be a nightmare. But something like any of the Cook Serve Delicious games, it works really, really well. So you don't have. It's still technically like the same experience as doing. Like they don't have an online co-op for some games. Like it's just for, it's just you run it through freaking remote play together.
Yeah, and
And
I
then
don't mind
there's-
doing that, honestly.
And then there's things that honestly I think do the excuse me, the actual coolest thing, which is like what they did with It Takes Two, where yes, it's a co-op game, you have to play it co-op. Yes, you're supposed to play it in person, but if you can't, the other person doesn't even need to own a copy of the game because it has to be played with somebody else. So there's a friend version of it which can't host but basically can join a hosted game, which is amazing.
That's nice.
In my opinion. I think it's the actual coolest way to do a co-op game ever, in my opinion.
No, that is very cool. You don't
No.
tend to see stuff like that too often. That's a neat,
No, not
kindness. I think
yeah.
the last time I saw that happen was probably with like a DS game that I had been playing with somebody.
Yeah.
There was a way to like only one person had to own like I think it might have been Mario Kart.
That
Which
sounds right actually.
Yeah, that
because-
is the best thing about remote play. And there's the infamous Zelda Four Swords Adventure on GameCube, which does the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know about that one or not.
Isn't
No,
that
I
the one
don't.
where like you had to have every copy of the game you possibly could to make it work?
Yeah, you had not only that, you had to. So the game was a 4-player top-down Zelda game in the vein of like Link's Awakening in terms of like graphical style, like gameplay style, but it was on the GameCube, so it had like it was better looking and it ran smoother. So really fun, really cool game. And 4 players, right? So you got 4 Links, and they're all individually controllable.
Yeah.
But if you plug another GameCube controller in, that person can't play. What they actually have to do is plug in a Game Boy Advance via a link cable to the GameCube slot, and they also have to have Link's Awakening in their Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Advance remake of the game, of course, have that on, and then they can use their Game Boy, that little shitty D-pad, and A and B button. That's their controller.
That's cursed.
Oh no, it sucks.
So it's really cool. So if you wanted to play the 4-player Zelda game that they put on the console that has 4 controller ports that can have 4 controllers at once, you need to have 1 person with a GameCube controller and 3 people with Game Boys plugged in via link cable with individual games that are different from the game that you're playing. It was really cool.
That's so cursed.
Yeah, no, it's the dumbest shit of all time.
You know what the other
And
thing
I remember
that
as a kid being so mad about that because I was like, oh, cool, Zelda game, it's 4 players. I played it by myself. I had like friends come over and I was like, we should play this. And we went to play it and it was like, you must insert Game Boy and link cable with Link's Awakening in it. And we were like, we don't have that. I already bought this game for like $50 and I have plenty of GameCube controllers. Why doesn't that work?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I really, really, really want more games to do also what Paradox does really well, which is if any player owns a DLC,
Yeah,
everyone
every
gets to
player
play
can
with it?
access it.
not even I think with specifically Paradox, it doesn't let you do it for everything, right? Like if I own the DLC, you can't play I think like the specific like Aquan races or whatever, but like you
Yeah.
get still all the rest of the content from it, and that's super good. Killing Floor does
Yeah.
the same thing, where any one player that owns a weapon, everyone can play with it.
I know in the Civ games that was always a cool thing. It's like even if I had the DLC civilization and you didn't, I could still play with you as that civilization.
That
You-
was
like,
something
now,
I was
granted,
very
the-
surprised to see.
Yeah, now granted, player 2, like the other person couldn't play that civilization,
Mhm.
but they could still be in the like. I wouldn't be like, sorry, you can't play it right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
love
surprised because I did an online game and everything was unlocked. But if you tried to select it, it was like, oh, you can't use this. And the other guy who I was playing with also didn't have all that stuff unlocked. It just by default unlocked everything.
Yeah,
And then it was like, well,
I
you
think-
can't use it, but then like NPCs could.
yeah. I don't know if this was default in Civ. I haven't played 6 at all, but I played a lot of Civ 5. And I didn't have any of the bigger DLCs like the Brave New World or Gods and Kings, but my friend did, and so we would always just be able to play with them. So like I was used to playing with the DLCs that I didn't actually own. And I can't remember if that was a thing that was supposed to be in the game or if we were doing something that maybe not quite normal or good.
Yeah,
fair enough.
But I think it's actually just in the game. Like I think the game that's just how.
I believe it is just in the game.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. Now again, I couldn't play all the civilizations he could, but I also got the religious bonuses that came with that. Like I could do different things. That's a fun inclusion. Like there's just things like that are little and they don't hurt the company. If anything, they're actually super beneficial.
Oh,
because
the
like
amount of goodwill that spawns toward like certain studios.
and not only goodwill, I played most of the games with Gods and Kings on, and so when I went to play single player and didn't have it, I was like, man, I really want it now, and I know how good it is because I've been playing with it.
Yeah.
And so like it makes you be like, okay, well I'll spend the $20 on this DLC because I know that it's worth it and I've played with it. It's just it's a no-brainer. It makes sense for the company. And sure, you're like, but they might not make a sale, but we can't force it. You can't force the sale, but you can then like let people have the experience and then they have to buy it to play it at home then. I think that makes sense.
Coerce a sale instead of force it.
It's not even coercing, it's just like, hey, you got to try it and did you like it? If you did, well, you can buy it.
That's a little coercive.
And then you can play on your own. It's not even coercing, it's just like it's free thing you can play and then they don't like try and like ask you to buy it, but then you might be thinking to yourself, oh, I had a lot of fun with that. It's like going to a friend's house and playing a game and then going home and buying it. The company's not coercing you. You just had fun.
Can't believe it was coerced with fun.
I don't know. I'm a big stan of offline multiplayer, just like in the same room kind of co-op.
No, I would agree. It's definitely more fun.
But I think that's something that
types of games.
And I think that like that's not necessarily seen as much lately because a lot of circles, especially if you're interacting with people online, they're probably playing on a PC, which is like the death of multiplayer fun in video games in person.
Yeah.
Not in general, obviously. Like, there's a lot of really fun multiplayer games on PC, but like, I don't know about you guys, but I've never had like friends over and been like, "Hey, everybody, like, come into my room and gather around my desk. We're gonna play Terraria together." Like, you know.
I mean, there used to be the CS:GO LAN parties. That used to be a thing.
That is true, and that was more of a, but that was like a bring your own computer kind of thing.
It was. Which I don't know about you, but it's a little big of a commitment for me to bring my own computer places. I have done it before.
I have not.
Dan, you were
laptops.
A couple of those.
I was. That was a good time.
Yeah, I have not, but I brought like laptops places. I'm a bit of a laptop guy. I enjoy them, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's like as a result, a lot of people, especially like younger people who are growing up with really only a PC or like only access to PC gaming, like might not get to have those same like in-person fun type experiences, which is kind of a bummer. But I mean, it's in the name. It's literally personal computer. It's not. Yeah. It's not the same as a Nintendo Switch. It's not the same as a PlayStation where you can all gather around and play Guilty Gear.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad that that's kind of a dying art, but I think there is the older I get, the more I see people doing similar, like still having similar experiences just online. It's definitely not the same thing, but there is a similarity to it.
Yeah, I think the similarity is not bad, but I just think that I think moving some things and making them not online is nice and actually like super beneficial to a lot of different like facets of our individual health.
100%, yeah.
And I think that like forcing more things online is not the way to go. It's kind of like that like tech bro type idea when people will be like, yo, but like think about the possibilities with this like blockchain technology and they'll be like in like making like tickets at like a venue. Then your ticket's saved on the blockchain. I'm like, dog, I can print out and hand you a paper ticket so much faster that works literally better because I don't have to check it. You just hand it to me. It works better, it is faster, and it's like a more analog system. Sure, you can lose it, but like it doesn't require everything to be QR code stored on the blockchain. It's way better. Not everything has to be online. Please, crypto bros, stop. Paper is kind of cool. Like
based paper. More likely
based paper. No, sometimes it's all right to have a thing that like is there.
Honestly, I like not to immediately latch on to the example that you gave for example's sake. I love paper tickets because it's just nice to have a little thing.
Yeah, I love paper. I still have some.
Trips.
I have a little collection.
I don't know. I used to save movie tickets back before they turned into the shittiest receipt paper things you've ever seen.
Yeah, I love like the back when movie tickets were like those cool little things, and now they're not. But sports games tickets are like one of those where, like, I have a Cavs game ticket from a Cavs game I went to a couple years ago, and I'm like, man, this thing's like really cool. Like, they're like shiny. They're like you can tell that it's something that can't be easily replicated, so it can get through the door and everything, and it's like a fun little keepsake.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And it proves authentication. I don't know. I think that things being offline is cool, and things being able to work when the power goes out is cool.
Yeah.
I think that's the big angle that people do tend to forget about is blackouts are a thing that still very regularly happen.
Yeah, it's just like, and also there's going to be less blackouts if you have more things offline.
Yeah.
Because then you're using up less energy, the grid is less stressed. I like things that are things.
Fun fact, I also like having things that are things.
I just like to see something and be able to like pick it up and be like, this is a real thing.
Wow, Jackson boomer moment.
I just hate digital things.
Jackson never learned how to use a computer.
I love the computer, but I hate its consequences.
That's valid.
Yeah, I don't know. I lose things, so I literally try to digitize everything because I'm much less likely to lose it. But I absolutely understand how like that is not what some people want, rather.
Yeah, and I don't think it should be forced.
Agreed. Yeah.
I like that you can go to a baseball game and you can buy a ticket in advance and then like go to like the will call booth and have a physical ticket, or you can buy one online and like show them the receipt, like the barcode at the door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I think that's a cool hybrid of like that's kind of how it should be. It shouldn't be forced all one way or the other.
Yeah.
I like having the ability to choose like what works better.
Yeah. And what works better for you too, not just what works better in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think everything should be
super convenient.
Yeah.
Although I will say, companies need to stop. Like, I know this is not like a huge thing for like anyone who's grown into the modern era, but so many websites for like events still charge online processing fees.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, hey, Live Nation, why do I have to pay an extra $10 for my fucking ticket because I'm doing it I print my ticket out. Like I have to pay $10 to buy it online, which is the only way to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then they're also going to make me pay like another $20 on top of whatever absolutely outrageous fee to get a physical copy of the ticket.
Yeah. Yep.
Also, not for nothing, Live Nation's been super, super shitty recently. So like, go figure, shitty company has fallen down, but whatever. Actually, I want to talk about this real quick. I don't want to talk about Astroworld, which is what most people have as their association with Live Nation. However, I do want to bring up the fact that like a lot of people don't know who Live Nation is, and they think that Astroworld was like some early on thing for them. Are you guys?
No, they're like one of the biggest.
I have no
they
clue
do like
what the hell
half the
you're talking
concerts
about.
in the country, right?
Yeah,
like, they do every festival.
They are the concert thing. Yeah. So then, Astroworld. What happened was, what's his name?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The trampling.
Yeah. Because they oversold tickets and everything like that. So Live Nation's putting on the When We Were Young Fest, which half the bands seem to have not known that they were a part of, and other bands are just like, logistically, how will this work? But hey, we're excited to have it happen. Like a lot of stuff like that. But the greater issue is a lot of people are like, oh, we better contact these bands and let them know that they're the ones who were involved in the Travis Scott thing. So that everyone knows not to do it. It's like, dude, everyone knows that. Live Nation's been shitty for years. Respectfully, this is a bad thing that they did, and they handled it even worse. But like,
we shouldn't
you
be
are
that
the
surprised.
only one in this like equation that doesn't know who Live Nation is. Everyone
and
else
also
involved knows.
The tickets sold out like minute one.
Yeah.
The most baffling thing to me is just people buying a $400 non-refundable ticket right now.
That is very concerning to me.
Why would you do that?
I
you have to know that now all the company has to do is cancel the event because of COVID reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter if they're actually even concerned. They can just do that, and they still make every penny they would have made minus concessions.
Yeah.
because the concert's already sold out, non-refundable, like hundreds of dollars a ticket.
Yeah. Like, even if you just wanted to do the $20 deposit to hold a ticket that is also non-refundable, like,
Yeah,
why
and
would
then
you
you're
do
still
that?
out that.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing seems really sketchy to me. I thought it was entirely fake at first, and then the more I learn about it, the more it just seems like a cash grab.
I don't know.
I'm sure the event will happen, but it
I'm
like
not like
unless they add extra days, which they might have. I stopped hearing.
they did
about
already.
It. Oh, they did. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
they already
sense.
added an extra day or two.
I mean, you needed to, and it because there physically was not enough time for how many bands they had
Well,
for one day in 3
I have bad
stadiums.
news about that.
They just added more bands.
No, they just added more days of the same show, so it's just like instead of adding a second day to like help spread things out, they added a second day to sell twice the tickets to the same show again.
Oh, so each day is going to be
They added an extra day. It's kind of like the ACL type deal where like it's not like a week. You don't have like a they don't have like a weekend pass for it because of the way the tickets opened up. But it's like you go to this day, and then you go to the next day, and it's very similar. I don't know if it's identical. I don't know 100% what they're doing.
like maybe the headline act changes, but like a lot of the supporting acts will play multiple days kind of setup.
I would say that the headline act will probably stay the same, but maybe supporting acts will be the ones who get thrown to the side. Only because one of the big headlines is My Chemical Romance, and like that's
Everyone will go
probably
to
a
that
huge
day and
reason.
have to-
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I don't think they had the option to go to which they pick a day when they first sold the tickets because it was a 1 day thing. So opening up to be 2 or 3 days, you can't. How are they going to work that? Because they just sold those tickets all too. So
Right.
now you can't just pick which one to go to because then they're over. I think it might just not be a disaster. It might be a fiasco, but I don't know. It's also like people are like, it's going to be Firefest 2. I don't think the people who say that grasp how bad Firefest was.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
Because
a bold take.
It's a big concert. I think it's in Vegas, right?
Yeah, it's in
Sure.
Vegas.
It's a big concert. It's in Vegas. Vegas can facilitate that. Trust me, that's what they do. Firefest was on an island,
Yeah.
which and no bands were even there. Like Firefest is just an unimaginable failure because they were trapped on an island with no supply chain access.
Yeah.
Whereas
Not-
at least
not
the
good.
When We Were Young Fest is just like in Vegas. So if things go wrong, well, Caesar's Palace is going to be making shitloads of money.
Mhm.
I think the bigger concern of it being in Vegas is it is a desert, so people are going to be spending a lot of time outside, and that's going to be there. That's where they're going to make their money is in water sales,
True.
because no one's going to be allowed to bring in any of their own stuff, you know. But like,
Of
Yeah.
course not.
but oh my gosh, it's going to be a mess. I don't know. There's no way that I would ever be caught dead attending that because it feels like a dangerous thing, and also
Yeah.
money wise, it's not a safe investment. I'm not
Also,
gonna.
we're really close to like an all-time high in cases. I don't know if we're still there, but we were just there like a week ago.
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to go to a huge festival with a whole bunch of 30-year-olds right now. You think I want to interact with 30-year-olds ever? It's the millennial shut up challenge, I'll be 25 in 2 weeks.
Whack.
It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of I don't think it's going to be a disaster. I just think it's like
It's
I
just
think
a
people are
yikes.
buying into nostalgia hype.
Yeah.
And I think that as a result, they're probably going to find themselves very disappointed at best.
I think that's a fair read on the situation.
Especially after, like, I don't want to say that I don't necessarily trust My Chemical Romance right now, but, like, they did shaft a lot of people on their tour that they had, like, had everything planned up for. Granted, it was right pre-COVID, but, like, a lot of people lost out on a lot of money over that tour that they kept rescheduling, and people kept rebuying tickets and not getting like their tickets or the concert or their money, and then like over and over again with like sold out venues. And I don't think it's on purpose, but it's kind of like
No.
they're probably sitting on a good bit of that money, and they probably didn't, and they didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's half the musical artists out there in the world that were going to go touring coming into 2020 are probably in the same boat.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's because of the way Live Nation handles some things.
Well, yeah, there's that.
So anyway, off the air, we will not be taking Vegas.
We will, just not for that.
Yeah, not for that. Yeah,
So I still really would love to go to Vegas someday. That's like a. I think it'd be
but
just,
I'd like to see the Grand Canyon, and it's not far, so I'll go.
That's fair. I am deeply fascinated by the degeneracy of Vegas.
I don't mind the degeneracy. I'm all for degenerates doing degenerate things.
Oh, yeah.
I just hate touristy things. Like you ever go to Disney World? It's just like it doesn't. It's all fake. It's all plaster. It's all hollow buildings, and it just makes me feel like a hollow person if I were to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So instead, I sit there spiteful, looking at the Eiffel Tower replica, thinking to myself, "I'm way better than that." I want to go look at the big hole in the ground.
Yeah.
You know, I think Off the Air takes Vegas. Off the Air takes the Grand Canyon, and then we go to the Gathering of the Juggalos.
I like all of this, to be honest.
You like all of those?
Except for, I mean, the Juggalos. I've accepted that that's just a thing that I'm going to be doing
Whoop,
now.
Yeah.
Whoop whoop indeed, friend. Whoop whoop indeed.
Where should we take though? If Off the Air is going somewhere, where should we go?
I mean, I still think Vegas is a good idea if we go there at a different time.
Yeah,
There's like some fun to that.
we should go to like a hot spring.
I'm down.
Oh yeah, OTA takes
Yeah.
Yellowstone.
Oh, well, you can't really go in those hot springs because they're full of like prehistoric microbes that will actually eat you alive.
Yeah, but like, you know.
Funny story about that actually.
Oh god.
I am not naming anyone, but I know someone who may have absolutely did go into a hot spring at Yellowstone. Now this was in like probably the 70s or 80s. He's all right. It was like he's not an idiot. He didn't go in like one of the ones that's 500 degrees.
Right.
He went in like a literal pool of water that was probably like 110 degrees. Like it was like a warm hot spring, like the normal kind to be in. When he was camping in Yellowstone. And he's all right. Well, he's actually like he's got a lot of like health conditions, but he's also like in his late 60s now. So.
I was gonna say, is he
and it's
all right?
not my dad.
I was gonna say he doesn't happen to be your father, does he?
It's not my dad, but I would not be surprised if my dad would have done that had he been there.
Give him the opportunity.
It is one of his friends.
It's very funny.
Because we were like talking about Yellowstone, his friend was like, "Oh yeah, like, I went to Yellowstone like years ago. It was like really great." And I was like, "Yeah, like it seems really cool. But yeah, you can't go in any like the hot springs or anything. I think like, that'd be really cool. But you know, because of like the microbes and like the ecological conditions that are present only there on the entire planet." And he was like, "Oh, I went in one of them back," and I was like, "You shouldn't have done that.
You should not have done that.
But
and if
also,
you did, you should not have probably told me."
I don't know that was like a thing in the 70s they were concerned about as much.
That's fair.
I don't know for sure. And I know the statute of limitations is passed, so he's probably... I really doubt park rangers are about to pull up to his house.
You sure?
For me telling this story.
You
I don't
sure?
know. I didn't name anybody.
They might. They might just be like, "Sir."
They start going to all my dad's like friends, and they're like,
Who was it? Who the fuck was it?
"You went in the fucking hot spring."
I like
Yeah,
the
so
idea that the park rangers actually have like enough of a budget and like reach to do that.
Yeah, they have like a
Simultaneously,
real big like spiderweb kind of spy network.
simultaneously, the people who I know who tried to become park rangers, it's like, no, they would do that.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely not like, you know, it's so far removed from it's literally like 40, 50 years ago. He was a teenager.
Exactly.
Yeah, kind of fun though.
Super
We should
fun,
go.
though.
Yeah, we should go to a hot spring. Let's go to Iceland. Let's go to the Blue Lagoon.
Okay.
Oh, that was easy.
Jackson, you keep getting surprised, I feel like, by the fact that we're so willing to just dive in on this dumb bullshit.
Well, it's just like, hey, where should we have like our podcast? Like, I don't know what to call it. Convention, hangout,
Vibe sesh.
slightly advanced Gritmas. Like, I don't know what to call it.
Call it the vibe sesh. That's what it
But
is.
I keep naming places, and you guys are like, yeah, I think it's not only feasible but also a good idea. Let's just go to Iceland.
I mean, I wanted to go to Iceland, so like,
Oh yeah,
I'm down
absolutely.
with
Seems
the
like a great
idea.
time. Let's go to St. John's in Newfoundland and Labrador. Sorry,
Mhm.
don't want any Labradorians out there to come after me. Bro, we didn't name Labrador, man. I'm sorry.
Labradorians.
You're not that impressive. It's like a joint province. Like, what if it was Ontario and Quebec? That sounds stupid. That's how you look, Newfoundland and Labrador. Newfoundland's fine. They're the first one named. Labrador, though, you're lacking. And you can't even claim alphabetical order because N comes after L anyway. You just suck.
This is such a good take. I love it so much.
Yeah, like, I mean, honestly, like, imagine if there was a state that was called, like, North Dakota and Montana. It's just like give them their own thing, or just call it one thing. But
Both are
and is just
acceptable.
so demeaning towards the second one.
So funny.
And
I'm
the
so here for
dog
this take.
named after the place is more famous than the place.
I won't lie to you. I did not know that there was a place named it until you just brought it up. So
Yeah, no one would be like, oh, Labrador, the great place, capital of the sub-province, because the capital of the whole thing isn't even in Labrador, sorry, but it's called Labrador fucking City, in the Labrador Mountains, and everybody just knows the Retriever.
take me down to the Labrador City.
I don't want to go down to Labrador City.
Labrador City.
Jamie, can I get a look up on the Labrador City population?
Nailed it.
Noah loud.
Loudly just starts mashing keys.
Tabs and the inspect element, and I hope I didn't do anything.
That's
Labrador
so
City
good.
is a town in western Labrador near the Quebec border with a population of 7,220. It's the second largest city in Labrador. Behind Happy Valley hyphen Goose Bay. Bro, their biggest city is a hyphen name.
Oh my god.
I mean this sincerely, Labrador. You're a dog.
Oh,
God. Let's look it up. I know the biggest city in Newfoundland is St. John's. Imagine, man. Imagine being Labrador.
Imagine just being stuck with the fact that you are Labrador.
Yeah, the province is Newfoundland and Labrador. Capital is St. John's, and the largest city is St. John's. Population of St. John's, which is in Newfoundland, not in Labrador, 108,000 people.
God.
Imagine being Labrador right now. Call Labrador, they're crying.
I just love that Labrador got beat out as the second largest city in Labrador by Happy Valley Goose Bay, which has 8,100 population.
Bro, imagine being a Labradorian right now. They're shaking.
Oh my gosh.
Like, okay, I will admit, in terms of the place called Newfoundland and Labrador, they have the more famous of the two dogs. That's it.
They do.
They don't even have the better of it. I mean, people who know me, they know my favorite type of dog is in fact the Newfoundland. I think they are the cutest, and they're just like big and like lads. I think that's cool. I like a big working dog because they like, as opposed to like a big guard dog. Big working dogs are just like critically neutral. They're just like, I don't give a shit, and I love that about them.
Yeah.
Like a Great Pyrenees, they're great. It's in the name.
By definition.
Yeah, what do? They sit there, they look at you, and they don't do what you say, but they don't cause trouble. That's perfect.
Dude,
all
Labrador
you can ask for.
sucks. I'm looking into this place. You want to know what their average daily temperature is in January?
Cold.
Oh, probably like -9.
It's -8. Their
that's pretty fucking
average
close.
temperature in July, you want to know what that
Let me
is?
guess.
Yeah.
54.
Dan, you have a guess?
48.
It's 56.8.
Oh damn, I'm pretty good at this.
You're on it.
I mean, I got my Labrador senses on right now. I don't know.
Like,
I mean, it's none of it. Come on. But
and this is just like your daily, like the daily average, not the average lowest or the average highest or the record high or record low. The record low, by the way, in January is -50.
good.
Yikes.
Fuck you, Labrador.
Like, I can't imagine living here.
Newfoundland gang represent. Fuck Labrador.
Maybe if I wasn't married, I could think about living here. But like,
Yeah, I'm gonna be
holy
real.
shit, it's
Labrador
so
is not
cool.
a place that people who are in love live.
Yeah, Nina would just probably die if we moved there.
I would die if I moved there.
I would just be like really sad because I lived in Labrador.
Yeah.
I'd be like, man, I wish I lived in the cooler half of this province.
Of all the Canadian provinces to live in, it is like, I don't want to start beef with Canada
I do.
provinces.
The
but I think
only
it's
good
the
thing
second
about
worst
living-
province.
The only good thing about living in Labrador is that the province is Newfoundland and Labrador, so you get the island part of it.
Yeah.
If it was separated from Newfoundland, if it was just Labrador, worst province. I mean, it doesn't even have Yellowknife. Are you fucking kidding me? What's the capital of none of it? Is it it's like Iqaluit, right?
Yeah, Iqaluit.
It's yeah. I'm a big province guy. I like to stay up on the provinces.
Yes,
Prince
I too
Edward
like
Island.
Northern Lion shit talking the provinces.
No, I actually just like the provinces. No one
Yeah.
talks shit on none of it. They don't deserve it. Like, come on.
They already have a bad vibe going
Yeah,
on. There's no
you
reason
live-
to be mean.
Like, yeah, they're not having it. They're having none of it.
Well, anyway, that was
I was like, here we go. This game's so hard.
Happy to have you here.
Boom, boom.
This is all falling apart.
God, I can't wait for there to be like a huge earthquake in Labrador this week.
Oh,
Can't believe
Like,
Jackson's
all
out here
of Goose
causing the
Bay-
Labradorian earthquake.
All of Goose Bay fell into the North Atlantic.
It's so
Happy
sad.
Valley? Okay.
It's,
Goose Bay?
it's just
Bad.
Happy Valley now. And Labrador City is now the biggest population center.
I think we can kill it here, right?
Yeah, we're out of here.
I think we should. Ethically.
I think legally we're required to at this point. Hey guys, so despite me asking Noah to remind me, he totally forgot. Coming in here at the very end of the episode, if you are listening to this within like 2 or 3 days of it coming out this weekend, that would be February 4th, 5th, and 6th, and maybe 7th. I'm doing a series of marathon streams of the new Dying Light 2. I don't usually plug my streams like this heavily on the podcast, but we're kind of making it a little event, doing little giveaways, doing little events throughout the weekend. So come on by. All the links are in the show notes, and I will hopefully see you guys there. Twitch.tv/PornRule. Have a good week.